Okay, hello everyone, welcome again. I'm gonna do some morning sketch. I've got a reference here, a male figure, and well, I think I'm gonna work again just on one layer. Maybe use, I don't know, Van Dyke Brown, nice and dark. Okay, and I'll just throw in the gesture and do a little bit of shading. Maybe I'll use this relatively light brush. Well, this is very light, but okay. To find the gesture, I'll zoom in a bit. And you know what, view screen mode, full screen mode. There we go. Okay, so what do I see? I see an overall tilt, lean toward the right with a very broad chest shoulder area, and the head somewhere over there. And you know, maybe this brush is just a bit too light. So we see something like this, and I think the pelvis area and buttocks area would be around here. And the leg is basically extended in this same kind of flow. The other leg, I'll open the legs up a bit to make the pose a bit more dynamic. It comes in like this, and then I don't know, the knee somewhere here. Just indicating general sense of the feet. And now I have something to work with and refine. So yeah, we saw in this muscle, we see the latissimus dorsi here, and huge shoulder muscle with the arm coming in like this. The other arm is, we have one fist here, and the other arm is holding the other end of a knife or machete. I'll elongate that. And well, I think we're getting already quite close. A bit more of a indication of the head in terms of size, and I want to show the abdomen and the chest. So I'm not too concerned with a likeness or proportional accuracy to the letter. I just want to use what I see to create my own version. do want to show his head sinking in between his shoulders. We hardly see, well, we just about see the mouth, I think, but that's about it. And well, we can show something of the other arm. Okay, back to the leg. He's got ridiculous quads. I'll just moderate them a bit. Turn his foot more sideways than I see in the reference. Again, this reference is from a source where you pay for the references, so I cannot very easily, freely just show the original photograph. And let's have a look. I always like to flip the canvas every once in a while. Maybe I'll just lift this one up a bit, and well, here I think I'm getting something that I can work with. Should be careful not to push the lines too much or darken the lines too much at this point. We see a little bit of his family jewels here, and then the tight trunks wrapped around the buttocks. Okay, well, first sketch of the day, so I shouldn't be too self-critical. Well, even if it's the last sketch of the day, don't have to be too self-critical. I'm gonna switch to this view for a bit, because I'm gonna come in with different brushes now. One which you, I think, might have seen me use before is well, basically a regular soft airbrush. Sometimes I don't turn the hardness all the way down to 20%, but something, or 0%, but I turn it to something like 20%. And well, usually just in the same layer I'll make a copy of or an extra layer for now, but I can just come in and delineate the terminator, and mind you that the actual color that I have is quite dark, but with this brush I can just very slowly and controlled build it up. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. And well, we also see that much of the legs are in shadow anyway. There's probably some spotlight on him in, well, I think such a fashion with point light basically shining out from this, and probably there's some edge here so that the light rays cannot get further And that in combination with some fall off, well, it's mainly fall off, I think. We see that the lower portion of the leg here is basically all shadow. And I'm gonna stick to that. Let me delete this. So for the face, well, we have the hair, and basically the whole side of, or the front of the face is in shadow, and the whole side of the face is lit. You do see a little bit of a triangular shape underneath the jaw for the neck. And pretty much all this is shaded in shadow. The edge here is going to be really soft, so I don't have to worry too much about it for now. I want to maybe already give a hint of cast shadow on the floor. It's quite prominent and visible. Now it's just a matter of filling the shadow, and maybe, well, I don't know, I'm gonna be a bit experimental. I sometimes can't help myself. I'm gonna come in on a new layer and basically add some tonal value for the whole, and now of course I can grab a soft eraser, something like this, and I can look for those areas where the light hits the figure. And I have to say, what I don't like about this is that I'm not incorporating the erasing of the line work. So I think I'll leave this experiment for now, and just basically, well, I can throw this away, get my layer 1 and push it down, boom, 1 layer, and come in with my airbrush again, not too soft, and kind of hatching the strokes, and I'll avoid the light parts a bit, but if I hit them, that's also okay. And again, I'm building up, and I'm very much exploiting the transparency of the brush, so that if I cover my line sketch or my line work, it'll also get darkened and thus remain visible to me. So I think I'm gonna cover a bit of the background here. And very much working as if I have a pastel pencil, and shading or washing in some pastel tone for all the simple areas of light and dark. I'm pushing the core shadow a bit. And well, not sure what I'm gonna do with the background just yet, but there we go. Whoops, soft eraser. So on one layer it's a little bit more convenient for me to also erase any sort of sketch lines that were there, which remained intact when I worked with several layers. Now, of course, that's not a big problem. Nothing is in Photoshop, but it's just something to realize, and something to explain why I might prefer working in a single layer for these kinds of quick gesture sketches. So maybe what I want to do next is a little bit of blending. I think I showed this maybe in earlier videos, but I'll kind of take what is a blender brush and just drag a bit of the shadow tone into the light, and where I have a little bit too much blotchiness, I can blend out areas to get a more quiet tonal treatment. And now it's not working. No idea why it's, well, maybe another blender brush. Let's see. 5, what is 5 doing? Okay. Well, 5 is a bit more textured. Well, that's okay. And 3 is, I think, a very simple, kind of blurry, round, soft blender. And I can always come in and add more tonal value, of course. Nothing against that. Maybe already get a little bit of this very soft transition around the lower leg here in. Okay, so we see a nice, well, vague hint. I think what I want to do is get a little bit of the lines to read a bit stronger. So I'll switch to my pencil brush and just come in and see where I think that's important. Um, not sure how much I want to express everything in line again, but there are some clear areas. And by the way, this line can also once again be blurred out if I think it's a bit much. I'm looking for what's happening around the LEDs here. It's quite a crisp edge. So I want to indicate with a light line just a hint of the hands and the knuckles. So I'm noticing this hand is probably better placed a little bit more downward. And something like that for the scowling face. And the trunks here so yeah, it's a little bit up to me, up to myself, how far I want to go with all this line work. I want to show some internal lines, and here I grab some blender brush again to maybe blur out and blend out some all too harsh edges and values. Maybe one line that I do want to show is the, well, stick or sword or whatever it is that he's holding. And yeah, now I'll grab my airbrush again, maybe turn up the hardness of it to look for a little bit stronger, sharper edges, for example at the beginning of the shadows. And I don't have to do the shadow completely as is, but get something a bit close. Now obviously I think, well, I don't know if it's obvious, but there's going to be some shadow or occlusion shadow occurring around or underneath the arm and underneath the chin here. So I'm still pressing lightly, and by the way, this arm is going to definitely be occluded some more, and this leg, I see some strong occlusion shadow over in the leg. And let's turn down the hardness again. So I'm now building up contrast. And looking for smaller areas that I could refine. And where need be, I soften areas, smudge them out, and keep going like this, having fun all the way. So I have quite a dramatic core shadow. I'll just decrease a bit the shadow in the, or the value in the shadows in the reflected light or fill light, secondary light, bounce light, ambient light. It's more of a bounced ambient light in this case. And maybe I can just increase the hardness again. I found, by the way, that with this hardness I hardly ever go past 70% or something. So something like this is already a very sharp edge or hard edge. At the same time, it reserves some of the, well, more, let's say, natural feel, I guess is the word. And let's come in and wash in more contrast in the background. And it's okay if I go over the foreground again, and I can come in and erase again. Well, there's actually a lot to say for a little bit of value pulling into the lid zone to then kind of look for the areas of highest contrast. And blender brush 3B, what does that do? Well, seems okay. I want to get rid of this this all too graphic outline here in the background, and now I'll gently come in and erase back in the light hitting the torso. One final thing I might want to do, I want to look for this very crisp. That's maybe a bit too much. Let's lighten that a bit. But this very crisp shadow that is actually cast by the LEDs onto the rest of the torso. Let's see, what do I think of this? Well, I think I could come up higher to show the trapezius here. Yeah, that looks better. And I can just about call this quits, I think. A bit of a stronger outline here and there. And maybe some final occluded values. And I can always, again, come in and blur out stuff. I think I also want to kind of blur out this arm in the background a bit. And maybe take one last airbrush to tone down a bit of the values on the face. Maybe show just a tad bit of a detail in the ear, but all this is trivial. So kind of curious what you think about these types of sketches. I like to do them, but maybe they're not as fun to watch or instructive to watch as some of the other content. So if you feel like it, you can definitely leave me a comment and tell me what you think. What content do you prefer? Okay, one more thing. I'll take, well, where's my airbrush? Yeah. It's really unnecessary, but I'll just show the whole underpants as slightly darker tone. and maybe just very softly pull a bit of light into the background here to create a little bit of contrast, blurring it out very softly, and maybe it needs a little bit more of a separation from the arm as well. And again, blend it out or blend it in. Now I'm blending also the edge of the arm, and that makes the edge between the arm and the background softer, of course, and doing that does push the whole arm to the background, like it's out of focus, or there's already some layer of air that causes it to be a bit more blurred. I think I'll just get rid of some of the distraction in the background, not too much. So doing something like that blurring of the edges around for the leg and arm also helps to kind of push them to the background visually, or well, perceptually is maybe a better word. I'm now just fiddling about for not really any apparent reason at all. Just as per usual, find it hard to just call it quits. So maybe I should do that. It's a little bit fuzzy around here. I'll be right back. I'll move it over to wait, I can't, to this side for now. Well, yeah, I'll call it quits like this. You know what? I'll call this a bit of a bonus section. I'll grab some new layer, maybe some overlay. I'm not sure. And what is it I want to do? Well, I want to see if I can have some fun with color variation. It is monochromatic. That's perfectly fine, but kind of color is of course due to the nature of the computer completely the same everywhere. What about some new variation? Maybe overlay, maybe color mode, I'm not sure yet. We can see what that does and how that maybe, well, influences the sketch. Maybe a bit more yellow tones. So we can still call this monochromatic. It is very subtle, but there is some color variation in all of it. Even though it's let's lock this layer, get rid of some of the yellowish. Even though it's very subtle, and it's maybe just a bit of the question how much I can pull a little bit cooler color into this for those areas further away, or maybe even a little hint of purple. So very subtle. Maybe I can also try and use a color layer to kind of get a little bit more saturated tone overall. Yeah, this is way too much. Well, I don't know if it's way too much actually. It looks like a little bit too much. But of course I can dial it down. Maybe does the fill layer do something differently? Well, not really, so to see. So I'll dial it down and then show a little bit of these cooler tones, also in the cast shadow, by the way. With some overlay mode, and well, we can mask that off and apply some layer mask to tone it down, especially the bluish greenish hints. So a little bit of color variation in this otherwise completely bland monochromatic thing. It's subtle, maybe it can be turned down quite a bit, also this one. So here it's pretty grayed out, also now because we have experienced a more colorful version. So by comparison this now looks completely gray and dull. Here we have some variation at least. Some more subtle wash of red in it. Well, let's keep it at that, and I'll just well, I'll copy the background layer to just merge this into it. One color which was, well, almost a black, I call it Van Dyke brown, kind of oops, where is it? Van Dyke brown. Kind of mimic the color that I thought was close to Van Dyke brown, and overlay a little bit more rich colors in it, very subtly. Okay, I'll quit it right there. Thanks all for watching. Once again, let me know if you like this kind of demo or content, or you'd like to see me do more traditional work, portrait work, whatever. See you all next time. Bye.